Guys, Dimension Master Studios here. How y'all doing? Sorry, it's been a while since I last posted a video. I've just been really busy for the past few weeks, but I am finally back with a brand new video for you guys, this time discussing Season 3 of Dragon's Rising. So, Season 3 of Dragon's Rising is going to be releasing at some point next year. And when it comes to Dragon's Rising, I've made it really clear that personally, I'm not really the biggest fan of this era of Ninjago, as I feel like it has numerous problems writing-wise, and overall, I don't think it's very good, especially as a longtime fan. However, with that being said, when it comes to Season 3, I'm actually looking forward to this next installment of Ninjago, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the things with Season 3 that, again, I'm actually looking forward to. So, let's get into this whole thing. Now, when I say that I'm looking forward to Season 3 of Dragon's Rising, I want to clarify that, personally, I'm not super hyped up and excited for the next chapter of Dragon's Rising, because while there are definitely things that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Season 3, there's also some things about Season 3 that I'm not really looking forward to all that much. Plus, at this point, like I said, I haven't really been enjoying Dragon's Rising all that much. So again, I'm not super hyped up, but honestly, in comparison to the previous chapters of Dragon's Rising, where with the exception of part 1 of Season 2, where I had very little excitement, all things considered, I'm actually looking forward to this next season of Ninjago, and not only that, in complete and total honesty, this would actually have to be the first Ninjago season that I've been excited for since Seabound, all the way back in 2021. Meaning that it has been 3, going on 4 years at this point, where I have been genuinely actually excited for a Ninjago season. And the main reason why I'm excited is because when it comes to Season 3, there's actually a number of things about it that I'm genuinely looking forward to. So now let's actually get into that stuff, going over some of the stuff that we know going into Season 3, as well as some of the things that we can probably assume are going to happen based on what happened at the ending of Season 2. So starting off with the first, and by far the biggest thing that I am looking forward to when it comes to Season 3, it would have to be that Zane is finally going to get some major focus. For those of you who don't know, Zane is my personal favorite ninja and character when it comes to Ninjago. Out of all the Ninjago characters that we've gotten, Zane is by far my favorite, and he's been my favorite character ever since the beginning of the franchise. And when it comes to Zane, over the past few years, he really hasn't gotten that much to do overall. The last time Zane really ever had a large focus would be back during Season 11 with the Ice Emperor story, as well as crystallized with his emotion story if you want to count it. But still, it's been a really long time since we've gotten anything that significant when it comes to Zane, so something that I'm honestly really looking forward to is that Season 3 is finally going to be giving Zane some more focus. I know that with focus seasons no longer being a thing, this doesn't mean that Season 3 is going to be a purely Zane-focused season, and instead this is probably going to be like Season 2 Part 1, where in that chapter, Kai was the major focus, but then in Part 2, things ended up changing. I feel like things are probably going to be the same when it comes to Season 3 Part 1, but again, either way, I'm honestly really looking forward to seeing what Dragon's Rising is going to be doing with Zane. It's a bit unclear at this point what is going to be happening. I'm hoping that when it comes to Season 3, it will hopefully do something with Zane showing the people of the merged world that he's more than just a robot, because that is something that Seasons 1 and 2 have been setting up so far, so that's something that could potentially happen. We also see, based on the sets, there are some interesting things that are going to be happening with Zane. Stuff like Pixel returning, which I feel is going to be a big deal. There's also Zane getting this brick built for him in one of the sets. I wonder what that's going to mean. Plus, in some of the sets, it looks like Zane is shirtless for some reason, which isn't super clear as to why that's happening. But either way, again, I'm just honestly really glad that when it comes to Zane, he's finally going to be getting some more focus when it comes to the franchise, and I cannot wait to see what Season 3 is going to be doing with him. Moving on, the next major thing that I'm really looking forward to when it comes to Season 3 would be the returning characters. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, but I think the merge basically getting rid of all the older characters right at the beginning of Dragon's Rising and making it really vague and unclear when or even if they were going to show up was not a good idea. This has been one of the things about Dragon's Rising that I have been the most critical of, and it's been one of the big reasons why usually I'm really excited whenever we get the chance to see an older character appear in Dragon's Rising. And something that I'm really looking forward to is that Season 3 is going to be bringing back two major older characters. It's something that I'm really looking forward to. For one, we know that Pixel is finally going to be returning, which I think is awesome considering that it's been a long time since we've seen Pixel, and so far Pixel hasn't actually shown up in Dragon's Rising. She's only been referenced a few times, so I think it's honestly great that she's finally going to be showing up again. It's a bit unclear what exactly is going to be happening with her. One thing that I'm going to be honest, I hope Season 3 doesn't do with Pixel is reveal that she's in charge of the administration. I know it's a fairly popular fan theory at this point. Personally, though, I don't really believe it, mainly because I haven't seen any convincing evidence for that theory. But either way, again, I'm just honestly really looking forward to seeing Pixel back. But the other major character who's going to be returning is Moro. And this is something that I am so excited for. For those of you who don't know, Moro is my favorite villain in all of Ninjago. I think that Moro is such an interesting and compelling character when it comes to the show, with a really great story during Season 5 and Day of the Departed. And I'm honestly really interested in seeing what the show is going to be doing with him, considering how much potential Moro has. With Moro returning, we could potentially find out how the Departed Realm works following the merge. Given that when it comes to Eren, he and Moro are going down pretty similar stories, the show could potentially do something with the two of them. And given Moro's history with the original ninja, I think it would be really interesting seeing their dynamic, especially considering what happened with Moro during Day of the Departed. And I really hope that when it comes to Moro, we get some interactions between him, Lloyd, and Kai, considering that Lloyd and Kai were the two ninjas that had the biggest dynamic with Moro during the events of Season 5. Again, when it comes to Moro's return, and really the return of the older characters in general, it's something that I'm honestly really looking forward to. After this, we then have the next big thing that I'm looking forward to for Season 3, and that is the Dragonians. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Dragonians are going to be the main antagonistic force that the ninja are going to be going up against during the events of Season 3, and they're most likely going to be working alongside the Forbidden Five. Now, when it comes to the Dragonians, the thing that interests me the most about them is the reveal that the Dragonians are actually from the First Realm, meaning it's possible that we might get the chance to see the First Realm return for the first time in 5 years, actually. And this is something that I'm honestly really looking forward to because, again, it's been a long time since we've seen the First Realm. And I'm honestly really interested in seeing what exactly happened to the First Realm since the last time we saw it. We know that with Iron Baron defeated, the Dragon Hunters and the Dragons have been living in peace, with Faith being in charge of the Dragon Hunters. So I'm honestly really wondering what exactly life has been like for the Hunters and the Dragons following the last time we saw them and following the merge. Also, speaking of Faith, if we do see the ninja return to the First Realm, then we might possibly get the chance to see Faith return, which I think is awesome because it would be another returning character who would be showing up. But also, I think that Faith is a really great character when it comes to the show. So again, I'd be really interested in seeing what might be happening with her. Plus, if we get the chance to see the First Realm return, we might get the chance to see Firstborn return. And this is something in particular that I'd really be looking forward to, because so far when it comes to Dragon's Rising, it's been a bit confusing when it comes to the lore surrounding the dragons, because the Source Dragons basically contradict the entire idea of Firstborn and what she's meant to represent. So I'm hoping that when it comes to the show, if Firstborn does potentially show up in Season 3, if the ninja do go back to the First Realm, hopefully the show can do something to clarify this whole situation with the Source Dragons and Firstborn. But either way, given that we have the chance to see the First Realm return because of the Dragonians, again, it's something else that I'm honestly really looking forward to. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the stuff that we know going into Season 3. So now I want to talk about some of the stuff that we got at the end of Season 2 that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Season 3, primarily when it comes to stuff with the characters, starting off with Lloyd. I honestly feel like out of everything that we've gotten so far when it comes to Dragon's Rising, Lloyd has consistently been the best part of it. Lloyd is definitely my favorite part of Dragon's Rising that we've gotten, as I feel like the show has been able to do some really interesting stuff with Lloyd's character. Stuff like him becoming a conduit for the Source Dragons, him being a mentor to Eren and Sora, him leading the ninja team. Again, Dragon's Rising has been doing a lot of interesting stuff with Lloyd, and I'm honestly really interested in seeing where the show is going to take his character in Season 3. Especially considering a number of the major things that happen with Lloyd at the end of Season 2, both good and bad. Lloyd was finally able to overcome all of his stress surrounding his visions. Eren betrayed the ninja team and he went to go and work alongside Roz. Lloyd learned that Wu was responsible for the merge starting, and Lloyd got the dragon icon from the Source Dragon emotion. Again, there was a lot of big stuff that happened with Lloyd, both good and bad, at the end of Season 2, so I'm honestly really wondering what exactly this is going to end up meaning for Lloyd going into Season 3. It's something that I'm really looking forward to. And like I said earlier, with Moro returning, I'm honestly really interested in seeing what a potential dynamic between these two is going to look like in Season 3. Again, it's a major thing that I'm really looking forward to, and I cannot wait to see what Season 3 is going to be doing with Lloyd. Moving on, up next we have Roz. Out of all the new characters that we've gotten so far when it comes to Dragons Rising, Roz is by far my favorite. I think that Roz is a genuinely interesting and compelling character when it comes to the show, with him having this mysterious backstory, with him serving this mysterious master who at this point we still don't know that much about. He has some kind of plan that involves undoing the merge in some way. He's constantly manipulating people in order to get them on his side, but he's just using them in order to serve his own means. There's definitely a lot of really big stuff going on with Roz, and I'm honestly really interested in seeing what exactly is going to be happening with him during Season 3, especially considering the ending of Season 2, where the Forbidden Five ultimately betrayed Roz and fought back against him, ultimately resulting in him being defeated, and Roz essentially losing everything, with Eren being the only one at this point who's on his side. I'm honestly really interested in seeing what exactly this is going to mean for Roz going forward, especially considering stuff like his hatred of the Forbidden Five, which in my opinion, Part 2 is able to do a lot in order to make the layers of hatred all the more interesting. Plus, not to mention, when it comes to the Forbidden Five, they're a mutual enemy for both Roz and the ninja, and given the fact that Eren is working alongside Roz, I feel like that's just going to make things all the more interesting for Roz, because I'm honestly wondering what he's going to do about that and how this is going to affect the ninja team. Plus, not to mention, when it comes to Roz, there's also some interesting stuff when it comes to his backstory that I hope Season 3 ends up exploring more. Stuff like his connection with his master, that one small flashback scene that we got during Season 2, as well as one of his ancestors fighting back against the Forbidden Five, being an elemental master, and actually winning the Tournament of the Sources at one point. There's definitely a lot of big stuff going on with Roz, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Season 3 is going to be doing with him. And finally, one last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Season 3 that I'm looking forward to would have to be the Forbidden Five. Now, I'm going to be honest, initially, I wasn't super sure about the Forbidden Five. I think the concept for them was legitimately interesting, with them being these ancient and evil elemental masters who tried to take over the various realms, but they were ultimately defeated by Eagle to Gandalaria and Rontu, with the Forbidden Five being sealed away inside of Nether Space. However, when we actually got the chance to see Noct at the very end of Part 1 of Season 2, I wasn't really all that impressed, as I thought that Noct overall was a pretty generic character, but Part 2 definitely changed around my opinion on this guy, and I think that Noct was a genuinely really interesting part of Part 2, with him being a really engaging and interesting character, especially when, like I said earlier, he ultimately betrayed Roz and fought back against him, with him and Rox freeing the other members of the Forbidden Five at the end of the season. And I'm honestly really interested in seeing where exactly the season is going to end up taking these characters. Like I said earlier, when it comes to the Forbidden Five, they're mutual enemies of Roz and the ninja, so I'm wondering what the show is going to be doing with that. But also, I'm hoping that Season 3 is going to delve more into stuff with the Forbidden Five, because at this point, we still don't know that much about them. We don't really know that much about most of the members other than Noct. I mean, Rox did end up getting screen time during Season 2, but even then we didn't really learn that much about her, and we still don't know that much about the remaining three members. We don't really know anything when it comes to the elemental powers of the Forbidden Five, other than Noct, where apparently his elemental power is brute strength, but it's not entirely clear what that means. We don't know that much about the origins of the Forbidden Five and how they came to be in the first place. There's definitely still a lot of unknowns at this point when it comes to the Forbidden Five, although it does look like stuff with the Forbidden Five is going to be a major focus when it comes to Season 3, and again, it's something that I am honestly really looking forward to. Especially since when it comes to Dragons Rising, although I'm not really the biggest fan of it, I do feel like for the most part, one area of Dragons Rising that I think is legitimately really good would have to be the bad guys, because I do feel like for the most part, the villains of Dragons Rising have honestly been pretty good, so I'm really hoping that when it comes to Season 3, it's able to do the Forbidden Five justice and make them some really great villains, alongside some of the great Ninjago villains that we've gotten beforehand. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. While, again, I'm not super excited for Season 3 of Dragon's Rising, as there are definitely some things about Season 3 that I'm not really looking forward to, primarily stuff with Aaron and Jay, there are definitely a number of things about Season 3 that I am legitimately really looking forward to, and I am hoping that when it comes to Season 3, it will end up changing around some of my opinions when it comes to Dragon's Rising, because believe me when I say I do want to enjoy Dragon's Rising, and I want to like it just as much as a ton of other Ninjago fans. It's just that at this point, it's been hard for me to do that, considering some of the things that have happened so far when it comes to Dragon's Rising. Where, for me personally, it's just been hard for me to really get into it and enjoy. But I'm hoping that when it comes to Season 3, things will ultimately change around for me. Because it does look like when it comes to Season 3, there are definitely going to be things that, for me personally, I am really looking forward to. And so, again, for me at the very least, Season 3 does look like a step in the right direction. But overall, I am honestly interested in seeing what exactly Season 3 is going to be doing, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So tell me down below what do you guys think. Tell me what are your guys' thoughts when it comes to Season 3 of Dragon's Rising, and what are you guys looking forward to? Again, tell me down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later, guys, this is Dimension Master Studios, signing off.